Fun TIG welding stainless steel pipe flanges, Season 2, Episode 17. Wow.
Warning: flashing lights occur during this video. Please use caution. The content and techniques you see in this video are performed by professionals. We ask that you do not attempt at your own risk. Thank you.
What do we have for you today? Stainless steel pipe, type 316, 8-inch, schedule 80. I usually do schedule 40, but this is schedule 80 this time. So there's some pretty heavy duty stuff right here. All type 316 stainless steel. Somewhat of a simple job, but I finished one yesterday. I have story on going on Instagram, but run you through. Wojnarski is back again to show you his work that's going on today. So feel free to follow along. So this is essentially going to be three pieces. 1, 2, this is going to be one end, like one end, and there's going to be a piece in the middle. So it's all going to be one big pipe in the long run. So flange on each end, and then there's going to be a piece of conduit that goes right along the whole entire thing, but it's got to be like top dead center on the thing, and it's got to look pretty straight because it's going to be out in the open and something's going to go through it. Or pipe's going to go on it and conduit's going to run through it. So we got that's what my line for is up top, and the flange or whatever on here. So conduit will go somewhere like around right there ish, 6 inches through. It doesn't have to be exact, just to protect the conduit that's going through it. So that's our project. Wish I would have got a little time lapse of me fitting this up for you, but it took 2 people and we're just trying to get it done. But it's pretty easy. What I do is just take my flange, and if this doesn't have to be 2-holed, like to match anything, it's a lot easier. But I put a mark on there. I found the center of both holes, marked it, and actually I went from one end and the other, so I had a true center. Same thing on the other side, drew a straight line down, and I matched it on the other side, so I had the true center or whatever. And shim this up, well, I drew a line like this just so I have my straight like that, and shimmed it up a little with a little filler wire. That way I get, it's not perfect, but I get a little bit more of an equal gap all the way around. Even though it doesn't have to be perfect, we've done them before, just sunk down without the thing, and it fits fine because there's a lot of play in the bolt holes. But it's better to shim it up, and it lines everything up a little better. But took 2 people for this. Sometimes I could do it by myself, but it's a lot easier with 2 people. Hold it up, and we put these, we got these in different sizes and different thicknesses, but 8-inch, we took 2 of them. Usually I'd do a 3/8 gap, but since it was heavier wall, I did 5/8. So just stuck 2 of a quarter, was that 1/2 inch, or 3/8 and quarter, and just stick them in there, butt them up like that, make it all flush, and make sure it's like flush like that. Put your level on it and make sure this is level obviously first, and hold it level, tack the top, and then once that's level, or once the top's tacked, then you level the bottom out. Then I spin this 90 degrees, spin the whole pipe 90 degrees, and then make sure that's level like that again too. Tack the top or the bottom, whichever is in your favor of the level, and then tack the bottom. Then I'll spin it again after that and just make sure my top and bottom is level again. And then after that, I'll go run along, and I like doing 8 tacks on each side. So I'll do 4 and then 4 in between all those. And then I'll do another 8 on this side, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And pretty simple, not much to it. So that's that. Then I'll start welding it. This I did, there's no specifications for these pipes. They don't got to be inspected or tested or anything. So we didn't really have any specifications how many passes to do, but usually, well, like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch fillet weld or whatever weld size. So I did two passes on each side, and that should be plenty good for what that is. Sometimes, and I used heavier wire. I used 1/8 inch for both passes. So usually I do like a 3/32 and maybe an 1/8 inch for smaller stuff, but I think that's plenty good like that. Maybe if If anything, I could did 3 passes on the outside, but you can kind of see it's pretty big right there. I think we're like a 1/2 inch weld on there, so that should be good. So I've got this all fit up. Gonna tack a couple more and we'll start welding. I do my weld on the outside first, or inside, whatever you want to call that, and then I'll do weld on this side. So pipes level, that's level, should be good to go. Before I forget too, I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If I hit my goal, I'm going to do a giveaway, and I'm not sure what it will be yet, but if I hit my 1,000 by the end of the year, I might do a little giveaway with maybe a fireball square, or I'm not really sure yet because I don't know if I have more MIG welders, TIG welders, stick welders, or people that follow along, but it'll be included for everybody inside and outside the US. If you're outside the US, I'm not really sure yet, but I'll still do something to include everybody. But that's my thoughts at first. So if you enjoy my stuff, please subscribe. I got my shirt ready, got my tungsten sharp on here. I'm using the Fupa cup, which I probably don't need it for the first pass, but I'll do it. I might switch it to just my normal number 8 cup. 3/32, 2% lanthanated tungsten in there, the blue one. All sharpened, so we'll fire up the machine and get ready. Everlast 325 EXT. Put my gas on. I like to run about, if I use the big cup, I like to run 30-35 CFH, but for stainless, I like to run about 20-25 CFH. So that's that. I already have it set up from before, but my presettings are already on here. But here's the interesting stuff is this machine right here doesn't have a scratch start. It has lift arc, but you need a foot pedal to operate it. So we'll go through a little run through what you of it. Maybe I should shut the machine off and tell you guys, but it has 2T and 4T settings. If you don't know what 2T is, you just 2T, pretty simple. You press the button or foot pedal and it's full amperage, whatever your machine is set at, the whole entire time while the button or foot pedal is pushed down, let off, and it just shuts right off, no tapering down or anything. 4T is you have a little amperage up and down. So say I have it set at 200 amps and you could set the seconds and everything. Maybe I'll go through and explain it to you, but you push the pedal in and then it'll start at whatever your amperage that you set it at. Like it takes however many seconds to go to it. So 200 amps, I'm gonna run, I think it took me, about 200 amps for that. But so down, I want to switch to, that's my number 3 setting. So it'd be 4T and downslope 3 seconds. So it'll take, once I'm welding already, it'll take 3 seconds to go. I push the pedal, so say I'm welding and I'm ready to get rid of the arc, like let off and everything. Push the pedal in and it'll slowly like bump down 3 seconds all the way down to whatever I set that end amps to, 5 amps, and then I let off and at 0. So post flow 12 seconds because it's stainless and it's going to get a little hot. I like to run that in, keep the torch lines a little cool. Pre-flow 0.2 seconds, just a little pre-flow helps where your arc starts. Start amps will be 10, so start amps is 10 and 3 seconds. So my start, like, sorry about that, but I'll push the pedal down and it'll take 3 seconds to ramp, or push the pedal down, let off, and it takes 3 seconds to ramp up to that full amperage. And yeah, pretty nice. But where it comes in handy is, sorry about that, I was getting a little combobulated, but where it comes in handy for that like 2T whatever is like scratch start, like when you're on the bottom of a pipe like this or something and you're uncomfortable or something like that, you get your torch and you could set that upslope and downslope. You could set the seconds even longer, so you could just get your torch in position or somewhat close, hit the foot pedal or the button or something. You can hook a button up to that and hit the button, and you could set it to like 10 seconds. So you just hit the button really fast, then you get a little bit more comfortable, and then it takes 10 seconds to fully get up to that amperage. Then you could start going, which really would help you. That way you're not full amperage at that whole entire time. And it's just nice to slowly ramp up and slowly ramp down. It definitely helps with not having crater fish eyes and like ending your arc, because with the scratch start it's easy to get the fish eyes like that right there. I don't know how well you could see that, but you can't even really see. I was able to blend that in pretty good, and I don't have that big fish eye, which leads to crater cracks and stuff like that. So like that, just nice and good. Then another benefit which I like about that is you don't get any arc marks or whatever, where that machine right there was scratch start, and that's like what I started and learned on pretty much for pipe welding and everything. And I get a lot of, if you look at a lot of my Instagram stuff, I did have arc marks on some of my pipes back then, like years ago. So it's a little embarrassing, and it's definitely not good. You could fail inspection for that. Inspectors don't like that, so something to think about. So just practice not doing that, but that's where that 2T, 4T comes in. But I definitely do wish that it was scratch start only, or scratch start also. I mean, you could hook it up to stick mode and run a gas line to the argon bottle like a normal like scratch start rig, whatever, like TIG rig, whatever you want to call it, and you could run it like that and that would be scratch start, but not your normal setup or whatever. Maybe the newer models, they might have, I know they have newer models with fan on demand and better point systems, all their newer models, so maybe that does have that, or different models have that. That's just, I didn't talk to the Everlast guy about that, but I remember a couple years ago they didn't have the scratch start, just lift arc, which is still plenty fine. You just need a button to start it, so use that as you will. Anyway, enough rambling, and we'll get back. It's all type 316 pipe, so you want to make sure that you're matching it with 316 wire or whatever your project calls out for. And I like to wipe all my wire off before I'm welding with acetone, and I like to wipe my pipe off too with acetone before I do it, just to get all the dirt and contamination off. So I already did all that, and we'll get to it. Take my torch cable, wrap it around like that. Takes a lot of the slack out of it, and then I'll start going. Now this pass I could kind of go quick with. It's just small. I just want to make sure it's good and no holes or anything in it, and it's fusing good, but it doesn't have to be super consistent or pretty looking, because it's just going to get gone over top of that. So I could go a little quicker with it. Keep your post flow on there, and that will help you with not having to grind your wire down, because usually if you take your wire out on stainless, it's good to snip it so you have a nice fresh wire every time, because if you don't and it's all corroded or whatever, whatever you call it on it, you just get all that porosity inside the weld. So that's it. But I got from there to there, and now we'll spin it. Just tap the pedal, let off. Now it's going to take 3 seconds to get up to that full 195 amps. So that 3 seconds gives me a little time to get in and comfortable. I like to pause a little bit on each side, so like rocket pause, and that just helps fuse it in a little better, make sure it's beating into the sidewall. Camera doesn't take the best of up-close pictures, but if you want to see better stuff of my welds, I guess go to my Instagram, Wojnarski, and you'll see more stuff, better quality photos at least. Maybe not better quality welds, but better quality photos. So now, pretty good, barely any color on that, so that's nice. That the thicker flanges and thicker pipe really sucks out some of that heat. That's why there's not that much color, but that big cup helps with not having the color too. But Gonna wire brush it and do a second pass. Now here's what I like to use for some of my inside stuff. I got a couple of different stainless steel brushes like this, but I hook them up to the drill, cordless drill. This is stainless steel brush, so you want to make sure you're using stainless steel with stainless steel. And just run along through it, and just makes your life so much easier. Shabam! Onto that second pass where we want it to look a little prettier. Going pretty good. Good amperage, I think. Alright, inside is done. I mean, that came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. When you get from like here to going uphill, it actually, even though uphill kind of takes more heat, they say, it slows down a lot more. Feels like it takes less heat, or puts less heat into it, but pretty good. Like, see that? I don't know if you could see that good, but how it tapered off right there. No crater marks, no arc marks or anything, so that's the benefit of the 4T setting. I like to hang over the pipe like that, leave a little lead on like that, grab the torch from the back like that, kind of hold it like that. Alright, you can watch the foot pedal, how the 4T works. I just click it, it ends the arc right there, pretty simple. And just hold that torch there for a couple seconds and allow that post flow to run and shield that arc for a nice fresh restart. Having that bigger cup on there, that FUPA 12 cup, is definitely helping. If I had like an 8 cup on there, I would have to wiggle my arm a little bit farther each way. Just makes it a little easier. And this isn't exactly walking the cup, it's more wiggling the cup, but in the realm, it's not as easy as regular pipe,
so now
like
just
butt
take
joints
my
and
regular
everything, but
steel
still
brush like this.
easy but not easy.
Stainless steel. I designate that to stainless steel only, and sometimes to type 316 only. Not that that really matters for this. And just clean it up. Good to give it a couple minutes to cool down before you brush it. This is probably fine. But if you let that sit on overnight with that color on there, it'll definitely bake on there and it'll be a lot harder to get off. So it's good to get the color off while it's hot. So, little tip for you. I'm gonna bump up my wire, this last one, to a 532. And I put a smaller weld on that. We'll just see how this goes. If it's too thick, maybe I'll just switch back to the 8. But getting towards the end of the video, got about 3-4 minutes left and about less than a minute of this welding. That 532 rod is actually doing pretty good. Definitely takes a lot more amperage to go at it. I think I was at 210 amps before, or I'm at 210 amps now and 200 before. So bumped it up a little bit. A little trickier, a little learning curve. You gotta make sure that it's eating in good, and you don't want to go too low of a heat with it. But I like to, like, see right here, I'm pausing on the sides and I'm going a little slower. Probably could have bumped it up another 5 amps or so, but I'm just going a little slower, letting that heat work its way in. If you made it this far in the video too and you like these videos, please leave a comment and let me know what type of work that you do, and if you do welding, what type of welding and stuff. Just curious on what everybody does. Alright, we're all done. See how leaving the torch and pausing that for that pre-flow allows that clean spot for a nice restart. Extra wire to 532 definitely did help. It takes a lot more heat to put into there,
but just made it a little thicker. Like the leg size might be the same, but it's a little thicker. So it just added a little more wire in there and made me a little satisfied with it. I think that's plenty strong, but this is extra strong. So if it ever fails, you can never get blamed and say, well, maybe I should have put more wire in it. Good tip. I think I heard that from Jody Collier, Welding Tips and Tricks, on a podcast. Something like that. But wire brush it and on to the next thing. All done with that. Here's my little top secret trick I learned. If you got to ground your pipe out, big thick copper wire like that actually helps, because otherwise I'd have to get a big clamp around here, or clamp to this, or clamp all the way down there, where you take little copper wire, I think this was like a grounding strap, wrap it around, and you got all those little contacts in there, and just you can put it anywhere on your pipe and you don't get no arc marks. So, little trick, I learned that from Jody Collier, Welding Tips and Tricks, another thing from him. So, I think we're pretty much done with all our welding for that, and inside and outside did the 532 wire. That worked pretty good. I think I bumped it up to like 205 amps. I'm surprised that I didn't hit the duty cycle on this, but it wasn't that long of a weld. But yeah, it was pretty hot. So let that cool down. I'm gonna go to lunch. Sergio cut these pipes for me. I'm not sure if I'll videotape this. If anything, maybe I'll do a time lapse and put it on Instagram, because I don't really have time to videotape everything. So, because I'll be working with him, he'll be helping me, and I don't want to take up all that time. So I don't think I'll do that. Maybe I'll time lapse it on my phone and add it on there, or add it, I don't know. So that'll be that, and thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, trying to hit the 1,000 subscribers so we can do our giveaway. But thank you for watching, and I guess we'll see you on the next one. Chris Wojnarski, over and out.
Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Instagram where I post more often at Chris Wojnarski. See you on the next one.